You wake up feeling a little dizzy. Nothing too alarming. Maybe you didn't sleep well. Maybe it's just one of those days. You move a little slower, pour your coffee, and reach for that small row of pill bottles you've lined up for years. Vitamin D for your bones, E for your heart, B6 for energy, a multivitamin. It's all part of the daily routine. It feels like self-care, like doing the right thing. But what if I told you that some of those same pills, the ones you believe are helping you live longer, might be quietly pushing you toward a stroke? I know how shocking that sounds. Believe me, as a doctor who has worked with aging adults for over 40 years, I've seen it too many times. People trying to do everything right, eating better, walking more, taking supplements their children or neighbors or even television doctors recommended. And yet, something still goes terribly wrong. One moment they're fine. The next, they can't lift an arm or speak clearly. Their balance is gone. A stroke has stolen their freedom, and the culprit isn't always smoking or high cholesterol. Sometimes it's a simple vitamin. We live in a culture that praises pills. Especially in America, we've been taught that if something is natural, if it's over the counter, it must be safe. Vitamins are sold by the millions, advertised as the secret to strong bones, sharp minds, and ageless skin. But the truth is more complicated, especially for people over 60, because as we age, our bodies change. The way we absorb nutrients, process chemicals, and respond to dosages becomes different. What was once helpful can suddenly become harmful. No one talks about this. Not enough, at least. You don't see warnings on the front labels. You won't hear it in most pharmacy aisles. But behind closed clinic doors, in emergency rooms, and rehabilitation centers, we see the consequences. Strokes with no warning, brain bleeds with no trauma, nerve damage from something as small as a daily capsule. And each time the patient looks at me and says, "I thought I was helping myself." Let me ask you this. Have you ever questioned the supplements you take? Really questioned them? Do you know how much vitamin D is in your capsule? Have you ever considered whether your vitamin E might interfere with your heart medicine? Do you know that certain B vitamins can actually damage nerves if taken in high doses? These are not fringe cases. These are not one in a million. These are stories I've seen unfold in real homes, with real people who wanted nothing more than to stay healthy and independent. In this guide, I want to take you through 5 common vitamins. Not to scare you, but to inform you, to protect you. Because the problem isn't vitamins themselves, it's the way we take them without knowing the full picture. I'll share stories of people like you, folks who followed routines they trusted, and the lessons they had to learn the hard way. We'll talk about how too much vitamin D can harden your arteries while you sleep, how vitamin E might thin your blood dangerously if you're on heart medication, how B6, often marketed as a brain booster, can actually destroy nerve endings. We'll discuss vitamin A, the so-called eyesight hero, and how it can build up to toxic levels. And we'll look at niacin for cholesterol that might be raising your blood pressure when you least expect it. But we won't stop there. I'll also show you a better way forward. A way built not on pills and labels, but on real food, hydration, and balance. Because your brain doesn't need megadoses. It needs wisdom. And my hope is that by the end of this journey, you'll feel more empowered, more aware, and more in control. You've worked hard your whole life. You've earned the right to age with clarity and dignity. Let's make sure your daily habits are helping, not hurting. And it starts with looking at that medicine cabinet with new eyes. Now take a breath. We're just getting started. Walter was 74. A retired Navy veteran with discipline etched into every part of his life. Each morning, he woke at the same time. He made his coffee, did a few stretches, and lined up his daily supplements. At the center of that routine was a small capsule of vitamin D 10,000 international units. bought over the counter. No prescription, no consultation. He believed it was strengthening his bones, giving him an edge as he aged. What he didn't know was that this habit was slowly tightening a noose around his brain. That morning started like any other. But when his wife found him slumped in the hallway, his right arm useless and his speech garbled, everything changed. A stroke, overnight. No warning signs. No chest pain. Just silence, followed by devastation. In the hospital, his calcium levels were through the roof. His arteries were stiff. Blood pressure unstable. And the root cause, hidden in plain sight vitamin D toxicity. You see, vitamin D is fat-soluble. That means it doesn't wash out in urine like some others do. It builds up over time, especially in older adults whose kidneys may not work as efficiently. When the dose is too high, it sends calcium flooding into the bloodstream, and the body, confused, begins to store that calcium in the arteries. Those vessels, which should be flexible and smooth, become stiff and narrow. Now imagine that happening overnight. During sleep, when your body is most dehydrated, your blood thickest, and your brain most vulnerable. That's when strokes strike. The irony is that vitamin D has real benefits. It supports bones, mood, even the immune system, but only in the right amount, at the right time. And what most seniors are never told is that their needs are lower than the labels suggest. Many supplements on the shelves contain 5,000 or 10,000 international units per capsule, but studies show that even 2,000 might be too much for someone who isn't deficient. Timing also matters. Taking vitamin D at night, as Walter did, can increase the risk even further. At night, the body slows down, blood pressure dips. Add a surge of calcium into the mix, and the risk of clot formation or vascular stress climbs. Yet, most bottles give no guidance on timing, no warning about risks. This is why regular blood tests are critical. You wouldn't drive a car without checking the oil. You shouldn't take a high-dose supplement without checking your levels, especially if you're also taking calcium or medications for the heart. Walter survived. He's in rehab now, learning to speak clearly again, but he's a different man. Slower, more cautious. And his wife keeps that bottle of vitamin D on a shelf not to take, but to remind them both how something so small, so ordinary, can carry such heavy consequences. Evelyn was 81, a retired librarian from Ohio with a mind as sharp as the books she loved. She had a quiet routine of tea at sunrise, puzzles before lunch, and a pill organizer that held everything from blood pressure medication to daily vitamins. Among them was a new addition, a bottle of vitamin E capsules she had ordered from a magazine, 800 units per capsule. It promised better circulation, memory support, and radiant skin. It sounded harmless, even hopeful. What happened next was anything but. 3 weeks after adding vitamin E to her routine, Evelyn collapsed with a headache so intense it left her vomiting. She was confused, unable to answer questions. A scan revealed the cause of hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding inside her brain. There was no fall. Her blood pressure had been stable, but her blood had become too thin. The combination of warfarin, a blood thinner she took for a heart valve condition, and high-dose vitamin E had turned her system into a fragile balance. One small vessel in her brain had given way. This is the part that shocks many older adults. Vitamin E, often praised as a powerful antioxidant, also has blood-thinning properties. In high doses, it acts like a natural anticoagulant. That might sound helpful until it's not. If you're already on medications like aspirin, Plavix, or any form of blood thinner, adding vitamin E can increase the risk of internal bleeding, especially in the brain, where even a small hemorrhage can impair speech, memory, or mobility. What makes this more troubling is how easily the doses are misunderstood. The recommended daily intake of vitamin E for older adults is just 15 milligrams, about 22 international units. Yet most supplements on store shelves contain 200, 400, or even 1,000 units per capsule. There are no bold warnings. No flags telling you this might be dangerous when combined with your prescription. People assume that because it's a vitamin, it's safe. Evelyn did. And now, though she survived, she walks with a cane. Her short-term memory is not the same, and she lives with the quiet grief of knowing her good intentions led her here. Her story is not rare. Across the country, older adults are trying to take control of their health. They read labels, follow routines, and add supplements they believe will help. But without a doctor's guidance, without checking interactions, these habits can backfire, especially when the body's system circulatory, neurological, metabolic care, more delicate with age. If you're taking any blood thinners and also using vitamin E, even in natural or heart-healthy blends, you must ask your doctor. Get your levels checked. Understand your medications. Because what worked in your 40s may not work in your 70s, Evelyn told me. Through tears, she just wanted to support her brain, but instead, she nearly lost it. Sometimes, the path to healing is not in doing more, but in knowing better. Harold was 76, a retired truck driver from Kansas who had spent decades navigating highways and loading docks. Now, in retirement, he wanted to keep his mind sharp and his body steady. So he did what many older adults do, added a nerve support supplement to his daily routine. It was marketed as a brain booster, promising better memory, improved focus, and healthy circulation. The label highlighted vitamin B6 as a key ingredient. Each tablet contained 100 milligrams. Harold took 2 per day. Within months, Harold noticed tingling in his feet. At first, he ignored it, blaming age or maybe poor circulation. But then came the numbness in his hands, the stumbling, the strange loss of balance. He fell once, then again. The third time, he hit his head in the bathroom. That's when he came to see me. It didn't take long to find the cause. His supplement delivered 200 milligrams of vitamin B6 daily, over 10 times the recommended safe upper limit. Unlike water-soluble vitamins that flush out easily, B6, when taken in excess, can accumulate and damage the protective layer around nerves. Think of it like the insulation around a wire. Once that's stripped away, the signal doesn't travel right. The body misfires. The brain gets confused. The damage can show up as numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, tremors, even confusion or forgetfulness. And the tragedy is that it's often misdiagnosed. People think it's arthritis, neuropathy, or early dementia. But in reality, it could be a preventable case of B6 toxicity, caused not by disease, but by a supplement that promised help. Harold was lucky. We caught it early. We stopped the supplement. Some sensation returned, but his balance was never the same. He no longer drives. He uses a cane, and he lives with a quiet frustration. I thought I was protecting my brain, he told me. I didn't know I was poisoning it. The safe daily intake for older adults is between 2 and 10 milligrams of B6. That includes what you get from food. Yet many over-the-counter brain health or nerve support supplements contain 50, 100, even 200 milligrams per dose. The more is better mindset leads people to think bigger numbers mean bigger benefits. But with B6, bigger often means danger. Before you take any supplement labeled for brain or nerve support, check the label. Know what's inside. Understand how it interacts with your age, your diet, your medications. Because nerve damage from B6 toxicity doesn't shout. It whispers. It sneaks in. And by the time you notice, it may be too late to fully reverse. Healing starts with awareness. Sometimes, the best way to support your nerves is not to add more, but to protect what's already there. Dorothy was 79, a retired piano teacher from Oregon with a love for music and a quiet sense of independence. For years, she taught students from her living room, her fingers dancing across the keys with grace. She took pride in staying sharp, staying healthy, and staying active. Among her daily habits was a high-dose vitamin A supplement marketed for eye health and graceful aging. 10,000 international units, every day, for more than 5 years. Then came the headaches. Then the blurred vision. Then dizziness, confusion, and slurred speech. Her family feared the worst. A stroke, they thought. But the scans showed something else. No clot. No bleeding. Instead, there was elevated pressure inside her skull. Her spinal fluid was backed up. Tiny veins in her brain were strained. The cause was something no one expected. Vitamin A toxicity. Vitamin A is fat-soluble, which means the body stores it in the liver, tissues, and even the brain. It doesn't flush out quickly like vitamin C or the B vitamins. Over time, especially in older adults with slower liver function, the levels can build up to toxic thresholds. That excess causes a condition called pseudotumor, cerebria, false brain tumor. It mimics many of the symptoms of a real one: headaches, vision problems, nausea, even cognitive decline. Dorothy's supplement was supposed to help her eyesight. But the Dositin 1,000 units daily was more than triple the safe upper limit for older adults. What she didn't know was that her multivitamin already contained a full dose of vitamin A. The extra capsule, combined with other anti-aging blends she tried, quietly tipped her into danger. Many people make the same mistake. They double or triple up on vitamins, not realizing the overlap. They assume if one pill helps, another will help more. But when it comes to vitamin A, the margin for error is narrow. The recommended safe upper limit is between 2,500 and 3,000 units per day, and that's only when medically necessary. Most people get plenty from food like leafy greens, carrots, sweet potatoes. When you add supplements on top, the risk of overload increases. Dorothy is recovering now. Slowly. Her vision is monitored regularly. She attends balance therapy. Her independence, once strong and steady, now depends on careful steps and cautious movement. She told me once, "I just wanted to do something good for my eyes. I never imagined it could hurt my brain." That's the hidden cost of high-dose vitamins. They come in cheerful bottles, sold as boosters and protectors. But inside, the chemistry is powerful. And in an aging body, power without guidance can be dangerous. If you're taking any supplements for your eyes, skin, or anti-aging, check the vitamin A content. Know your sources, add up the totals, and remember, more is not always better. Sometimes, it's just more risk. Frank was 82, a retired postman from Florida with a steady gait and a warm laugh. Every morning, he followed a routine built on habit and health. A walk around the block, a balanced breakfast, and a capsule labeled Heart Healthy, packed with niacin, also known as vitamin B3. The label promised support for cholesterol and circulation. He took 2 capsules daily, totaling 2,000 milligrams, confident he was doing right by his heart. But then came the morning flushes. His face would feel hot, then cold. His chest would pound. His head would spin for a few seconds before everything returned to normal. At first, his wife thought it was anxiety. His son blamed his blood pressure medication. But the real cause lay in the supplement he thought was helping him. Niacin, in moderate amounts, plays a role in energy metabolism and can support cholesterol balance. But in high doses, especially above 50 milligrams per day, it can cause a cascade of reactions in the aging body. First, it dilates the blood vessels, causing the skin to flush and the heart to race. Then, those same vessels constrict, snapping back harder than before. This back and forth, a kind of vascular yo-yo, creates strain on the heart and sudden spikes in blood pressure. For some, this can trigger atrial fibrillation. For others, it can restrict blood flow to the brain. That's what happened to Frank. One morning during his usual walk, he stopped mid-sentence. His words jumbled. His expression blanked. It lasted 2 minutes. A mini-stroke, also known as a transient ischemic attack. A warning sign. Thankfully, the symptoms passed, but the risk did not. Many older adults are drawn to niacin because it's seen as a natural way to manage cholesterol. Some doctors even prescribe it in controlled forms. But over-the-counter versions, especially extended release or flush-free formulascan, still impact blood pressure, liver enzymes, and blood sugar. And when taken without medical supervision, especially in high doses, they may quietly raise the risk of something far more serious than high cholesterol. Frank's story is a reminder that even natural ingredients can have powerful effects. He believed he was protecting his heart, but instead, he was stressing it, along with his brain. After we removed the niacin supplement, his symptoms eased. His balance returned. He told me, "I thought I was doing everything right. I didn't know I was gambling with my brain." If you're taking any supplement with niacin, check the dosage. Anything above 50 milligrams per day should be used only under a doctor's guidance. And if you have high blood pressure, heart rhythm issues, or are taking other medications, the risks can multiply. The line between help and harm is thinner than most realize, especially in older adults, where every system is more sensitive. What you swallow each morning shapes your body more than you think. And sometimes, stepping back is the wisest move of all. Margaret was 73. A retired school principal from Arizona, with sharp eyes and a practical mind. She had always believed in doing things by the book, raising her children with structure, running a school with purpose, and taking care of her body with discipline. Her medicine cabinet reflected that same mindset. A row of bottles: vitamin D for bones, vitamin E for circulation, a B complex for energy, niacin for cholesterol, a multivitamin for backup, and a few brain support blends she'd picked up online. When she came to me, she complained of dizziness in the mornings, fluctuating blood pressure, and a kind of fogginess she couldn't shake. Her labs weren't alarming. Her heart looked fine. But something was off. So I asked her a simple question. What would happen if we took all the pills away? She paused, then nodded. Over the next few weeks, we cleared the clutter by one, removing each supplement. Not because they were all bad, but because they were overlapping, unmonitored, and potentially interacting in ways no one had measured. In their place, we built a new route knot made of capsules, but of real food. Nothing extreme, no trendy diets, just simple meals timed with care. Breakfast became a moment of healing. 1 boiled egg for clean protein, half an avocado for healthy fats, a slice of whole grain toast for steady energy, a handful of blueberries for brain protective antioxidants, a glass of room temperature water to hydrate the body after a night of sleep. Sometimes, she added a few walnuts or almonds. That was it. Within weeks, her dizziness eased, her blood pressure stabilized, her energy returned. And something else happened. Her mind felt clearer, more alert than it had in years. You see, the brain doesn't crave megadoses. It craves balance. Hydration, healthy fats, slow-burning carbohydrates, micronutrients in natural form. Foods like leafy greens, berries, fatty fish, whole grains, nuts, and seeds offer a kind of quiet support that pills can't replicate. They don't just feed the brain, they calm it, protect it, ground it. We've been taught to chase fixes in bottles. But your body wasn't designed for isolated doses and chemical extras. It was built for rhythm, for meals that match your needs, not override them, for nourishment that whispers, not screams. Margaret now shares her routine with others in her retirement community. She still takes a few essentials under her doctor's guidance, but she no longer sees health in milligrams. She sees it in the richness of color on her plate, the clarity in her mornings, and the strength in her stride. At this stage of life, every choice matters. But it's not about fear. It's about respect for your body, for your mind, and for the decades you've earned. The truth is, Healing doesn't always come from something new. Sometimes it comes from returning to what your body always needed: food, water, rest, movement, awareness. You're never too old to change, and never too late to feel better than you thought possible.